What if one video could blow up your entire music career? Because I am a believer that that is true. The problem here is this is not luck. This is probability. And this is about stacking the right elements. So today I will show you what I call the impact score. 7 pillars. The 7-pillar formula, and we're going to break it down into key areas, and we're going to include the 3 times 10 rule, right? Which means we rank each pillar, each of the 7 pillars out of 10. 3 times 10, we need 3 lots of 10 out of 10 scores, and we're going to go for an average of 60, which I'll explain. But then after that, we are going to discuss how to improve each section to guarantee numbers, to guarantee growth on your song and guarantee growth on your music career. So let me give you some context. There are 100,000 songs being released every single day. That's a lot of noise. And 20,000 of them now are AI, fully AI. So think what it's going to be like in the next 6 to 12 months. By the way, that is twice as many AI songs being uploaded fully to Spotify than it was 3 months ago. It was 10,000. Now it's 20,000. So by the end of the year, could be 50,000 to 100,000 songs just purely AI if nothing gets done. Anyway, that's another video. So good enough is not good enough anymore. A great song or a great voice or just a great video won't cut through the noise alone. You need a combination. We need to stack your strengths. Now, this is really, really important. Let's look at the formula, the 7 pillars, and each one of these pillars we will score out of 10. The first pillar is artist brand. Okay, I'll go through each individual, but artist brand. The second one is the quality of song itself. When everyone's like, it should be all about the music. It is all about the music, but it's all about a lot of other things as well. But artist song is very important. So the quality of the song, the talent of the artist, the out and out pure talent of an artist, the video concept. And by video, I mean the promotion, the concept of what you are doing to promote your song. And then the video execution, which is slightly different. How you're actually going to execute with the production levels, with the lighting, with pulling off the concept of what you've come up with. Then after that is the emotional hook. Some songs are emotional, some songs aren't, but most of them will trigger some kind of emotion, even if it's fun or happy or rageful or rock or dancing or chill, whatever that emotion is. What is the emotional hook? And lastly is momentum. Now, of these 7 pillars, we need 3 of them to be a 10 out of 10 in order for you to break through, or for that song probably, and you as an artist to break through. But what we're also looking for is 60 out of 70. So if we're ranking everything 10 out of 10, out of 70, we need to get from to 60 out of 70, because at that point, you are fully dangerous. Now, I know what you're asking me. You're saying, but Damian, what does a 10 look like? Because all my songs are 10. Unlikely, my friend. So think of it like a person, right? You're walking down the street. How many 10s are there in the wild? Answer that is, I don't know. So I talked to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT told me, and let's face it, ChatGPT knows absolutely everything, that an actual 10 out of 10 looking person, from attractive, good looking person, is approximately 1 out of 10,000 people in the world, which means there's probably around about 600,000 or 700,000 good looking, like truly perfect looking people in the world, which I believe is probably the same size as the population of Amsterdam. Now, so don't blame me. This is AI, not me. But let's say that's true, okay? That means you do not see many 10 out of 10s in the wild, okay? So we have to be brutal when it comes to our 7 pillars. Let's talk about number 1, artist brand, okay? Who are you as an artist? Who are you? Why should I care? Why would you get instantly recognized? Why would you connect with your audience? We are talking identity. We are talking about Gaga. We're talking about MGK. We're talking about the Sex Pistols. We're talking about Bieber. Whether you like these artists, whether you don't, makes no difference whatsoever. These artists represent pretty much perfection when it comes to a certain demographic. Now, obviously, Bieber's demographic is very different to Meshuggah's demographic, but for the demographic, they are a 10 out of 10. They are perfect. Now, I'm like everyone else. 5 is interesting. If honestly, the amount of times I've heard people say, the great thing about me is I'm just like everyone else. So I'm like, well, you're a 5. because that's average. Average is 5. How are you possibly going to, be an artist as a 5? You've got to be interesting. You've got to represent an identity. It's all very well being you, but we've got to be the best version of you. And don't forget that old adage. People either want to be you, they want to be friends with you, or possibly be with you. So that's the artist brand. Number 2 is the song itself. Now, this is where people go, this is good because this is where I win because all my songs are a 10. No. Because if 100,000 songs are released on Spotify every single day, how many of those are a 10? Well, if we go back to the attractive scale from the bell curve from ChatGPT, 10 out of 100,000, maybe? Would you say 100? Now, what I'm talking about is the best of the best. I'm talking about a song that will break an artist. I'm talking about a song that is so good that it will take an artist to a certain place so that the rest of their songs, which are probably going to be 7, 8s, and 9s, are going to be good enough to sustain a career. In my opinion, Fix You is a 10 out of 10. I think that song is about as good as it's going to get. Now, just the song itself. So bear in mind, billion streamed artists potentially might have 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 10 out of 10s. But they might also have 3, 4, or 5 albums. But those ones that you go, it's that one though, isn't it? That's the banger. We're talking the best of the best of the best. So I would say most songs that people are writing and producing are probably, after a while, around about the 7s or 8s. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. We can do a lot of damage with an 8 out of 10 song. That's good, by the way. That's a really good song. Even a good 7 out of 10 song gives you a lot of potential to be able to get movement with this 7-pillar strategy. Then after that is talent. Talent is not the song. Talent is not the brand. Talent is just out and out your talent. Think Teddy Swims, think Winehouse, think Freddie Mercury, think Stevie Wonder, think Jeff Buckley, think Prince, like the best of the best of the best, like these generational talents. That's what we're talking about when I say a 10. So therefore, when it comes to talent, let's say Jeff Buckley's a 10 or Freddie Mercury's a 10. Let's say most artists' talent is usually somewhere between a 6 and an 8. Some are just better than others. But if we're looking at that sort of aspect, it's difficult for you to jump from a 6 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10 in a small period of time because we're talking about talent. Which brings me on to aspects which are within your control. So when it comes to the promotion, now what we've got is things like video concept and video execution. Now, video concept is the idea. So rather than just like I walking down the street going, I think I just wrote the song of the summer and I'm just doing it on the front face of my phone. No. What I'm talking about is a concept that makes people really stop and think. And now we are entering, when it comes to TikTok, we're entering the professional phase. We're not in the beginner phase, the quantity over quality. Now you're seeing a lot of artists and labels that are putting a lot of time, effort, creativity, energy, and money into making content, like where music videos went after 10, 15 years. Everything's sped up. We're seeing some really good quality content. And so therefore, if you want to compete, the video concept is very, very important. Now, I would liken a 10 to OK Go. If anyone knows OK Go, one of the first, I think the first video they ever did was a video which didn't cost any money and it was made for next to nothing, but it was they got a bunch of treadmills and they were doing these dance routine on the treadmill. Song was very good. Was it a 10 out of 10? Absolutely not. Was the video concept a 10 out of 10? Absolutely. And from there, every single video that they made just got more complicated, but more impressive. And that became their thing, their video concepts. And in a later date, the video execution. Now, the execution is more the production levels. So this is, what are you going to do to make a video? So people are thinking that they can make a 20-second video with the front face of an iPhone and they can just sing their song like a selfie and just expect that to go viral. So we're not in that stage anymore. Not unless the song is a 10 and the brand is a 10 and or you're a massive artist. So check this guy out. This guy's called Cameron Whitcomb. Now this guy makes these little mini movies. He's basically really gone to town on pieces of content and he obviously really enjoys it and he's obviously a bit of a videographer or he knows somebody who is a videographer. So what he's doing here is he's saying, I can win because whether I'm a 10 out of 10 generational talent, whether my song is a 10 out of 10 generational song, maybe not. But what I can do is I can do the stuff which is within my grasp, in this instance, video content, video execution, video concepts. And therefore, he's really pushing his score up to try and get that 10 out of 10 to push his numbers up to 60. Then you've got the emotional hook, which is the next part when it comes to the delivery. Now, the emotional hook could be you singing your song. It could just be the song's that emotional. It could be the look of the video that's emotional, but it could be the lyrics. It could also be just the context that's on the screen. When you're writing something on the screen, you're delivering that story, you're delivering that emotional power play. That can be a 10 out of 10. And you can have a 7 out of 10 song. You can have a 7 out of 10 talent. You can have a 7 out of 10 concept, but you can have a 10 out of 10 emotional hook that makes people scroll up and it hits them right in the chest. They just go, oh, well, that's powerful. God. Because as an artist, you're a storyteller. That's your job. Your job is to convey these emotions, to make people feel things. That's what emotion is. So why are we doing that in socials? There's no reason why this shouldn't be a 10 out of 10. If you are looking to build up your score, just putting, I think I wrote the song of the summer is a 5 out of 10 now. The emotion is, does it make somebody feel something? That's what we're trying to do. So check out the artist Oliver Anthony.
Well, the life we've been given and the way we've been living.
Now, Oliver Anthony doesn't put a big hook across the screen, but in his voice, in the lyrics, and just in the music itself, there is so much emotion that even if he's filming on the front face of an iPhone, even if there's no concept, the talent and, more importantly, the emotional hook, the emotional draw-in is so super powerful. And that's what I mean by emotion. And lastly, is momentum. Now, people underestimate momentum. Now, momentum works both ways. If you get on a bike and you start pedaling as fast as you can, you will get faster and faster. But if you take your feet off the pedals, you'll get slower and slower and slower. So you can decrease the momentum. Now, it's the same thing when you're making content or you're promoting a song. If you don't do this well, you just go, it didn't work. No. We've gone the wrong way. What can easily happen here is you are decreasing momentum and you are even driving it downwards. So you are anti-promoting it, which is what a lot of artists are doing. So if you've gone and made 20, 30, 40, 50 pieces of content, which aren't very good, then not only are you not getting numbers, but you are telling the platform the data that it thinks it needs, and you are confusing the platform. You are confusing people. So we need to stop this anti-promoting. So what I would suggest by this, instead of us trying to go from 0 to 1 million, what we first start to do is go from 0 to 100, and 100 to 1,000, and 1,000 to 10,000, and 10,000 to 50,000. We grow incrementally, which is what most artists aren't trying to do. They're trying to luck out. They're trying to film things, throw it out, hope for the best, and in doing so, they're doing more damage. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to go back and I want you to review the last 5, 6, 7 pieces of content. I want you to score all of those pieces of content with all 7 pillars. And you have to be absolutely brutal. You could even bring someone else in and say, be totally brutal. You need to add them up. Now, this is where you need to get 3 10s. And ideally 3 10s, and we need to hit a 60. Okay. Now that could be a video that's a video concept. It could be your artist brand, and it could be the emotional hook. If each of those is 10 out of 10, you are flying. I promise you, you've done it. You've done your job. You are going to get big numbers. That is going to work. You are going to build a lot of consistency. You're going to build an audience, and you're going to be able to monetize. You're going to get opportunities from that. You could do talent, a song, and brand. You put those 3 together, 10 out of 10 talent, 10 out of 10 song, 10 out of 10 brand. The rest of it's just science. Whether you film it on an iPhone, it doesn't matter. Because if you are 10 out of 10 talent, 10 out of 10 song, and 10 out of 10 brand, let's say, for example, I would use someone like Modern Realm, Youngblood. I think talent, think he's amazing. Songs, think amazing. Brand, think it's amazing. I'm like, even if you went, well, some of the songs are an 8 or a 9. I'm like, you put those 3 things together, the rest of it doesn't matter. You can film or take a picture on an iPhone, and we're all going to go, well, that's interesting. So we need 3 10 out of 10s. But what can you do if you're not hitting those 10? Now, most artists, I would suggest, are a 6 to an 8 across the board. That's brutal, I know. But if we do the math, 7 6s, if you are an average of 6 across the board, 7 6s are 42. If you average 8 across the board, you are a 56. But we know that we need to get to 60 in order for this to work. I always say this with the music industry is like you're 88 miles per hour in Back to the Future. That's where you have to get. If you don't hit 88 miles per hour, nothing happens. You do not go back to the future. So we have to get to that point. But I promise you, when you get to that point, everyone's waiting. The whole music industry is waiting at 88 miles per hour. So what we're trying to do is get to 60. And if we're at 56 or 57, we might get the odd piece of content that does quite well. We might start getting okay numbers, but we're not all in. So where can you improve some of these numbers? You have to find your treasure. You have to go all in on the bits that you are capable. So therefore, you do have to get better at making videos. You do have to think about your songs. You do have to think about your brand. You can't just go, I'll just wear what I'm wearing. It just is what it is. What you've got to do here is you've got to find the bits that you can improve. But the good thing is there's 7 pieces to the jigsaw puzzle that you could potentially improve. And you don't have to improve all of them at once. If you are thinking to yourself, I need to improve, I need to get my music out, and I know that I'm good, but I'm not quite a 60 out of 70, then you can download, I've made a free scorecard on how you can score and how you can improve your pillars, how you can improve each one with some ideas. The link's in the description if that helps. But I want to know, let me know your scores. I want to know how honest people are for a start, because the amount of 70s I know we're going to get. But I want to know your scores in the comments. I want to know how you would improve yourself on every single pillar. Let's do some work. Get it in the comments, and I promise you I will reply to as many as possible. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.